did you hear?
I did not hear that.
Okay, because his son is sick.
Oh,
so.
thank you. So I was going to wait and then try to do that. So the first thing on the agenda is we're actually going to table that, the lease renewal for Cito. He will be here in January to talk about it. So we're not actually moving forward with anything on that.
I just have a question on that, Dan. Is that different from the RFP that's out there for the dock thing, or is that something different?
Yeah.
Herein lies the issue. You nailed it.
Okay. What is it? What did I nail? Educate.
That whether or not we are going to be addressing this more globally or whether we are going to be addressing it individually is something that is still up in the air and subject to discussion.
And the RFP
Okay.
isn't due for another couple weeks, so, and there's, I think, releases that the city has, right?
Okay, so the RFP that's out there now isn't this one. This is a separate one.
Correct, it's not this one.
Oh, okay, but it's a similar
Should we
similar
be doing
thing.
this
Oh,
in
so
one
so that's there's three of them, and you want
The issue is whether-
one whole.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we've gone back and forth on that probably for the last 8 years. Every time one of these has come up.
Yeah, I want to know in case I want to make a public comment or at the council meeting. Now I know that.
Well, you need to know when you're on the planning board.
Not
I
happened.
tried to explain to Bill that he doesn't need to apply to be on the board. He can voluntarily replace him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like getting arrested and having community service.
So,
It's the personnel version of eminent domain.
I like that.
all right, boys, we're gonna move on, so we will revisit this, or at least a few of us will revisit this in January. The next thing on the agenda is the reappointment of Wayne Platt to FAR. However, again, we'll explain that it's no longer gonna be Wayne Platt, but he will enlighten us on the process.
Yeah, I spoke with Wayne just recently, and he's done an excellent job as a member of the Board of Assessment Review for many years. He's been on the board since I've been here in 2011. Has been reappointed at least once, if not multiple times. I'm not sure on that fact. Bernie says twice, and I trust that. And he's done a great job, but unfortunately, he's not going to be able to be partake in the Board of Assessment Review in the coming future, so we need to look to the community to find someone to fill his shoes.
Is that just a member of the board, or?
As a member of the board.
Okay.
So the board, a couple things. The board is a 5-person board, and I will pass along to you the current membership.
It has to be people?
Yes. And to let you know and remind this committee that this is one of the few common council appointments, 2 boards. I'm coming here today to ask you to help field a candidate.
I have one. Bill Carey.
Second.
There we go.
All right. All in favor? What exactly does that entail?
So, Board of
He's actually considering it.
Jeffrey, ask him what that entails.
The Board of Assessment Review is a quasi-judicial board. They are judge and jury all in one. They have open hearings, but their deliberations are in private, and then they release their determinations. So
this is when people grieve their assessment.
Correct. This is when someone comes in and grieves an assessment or an exemption, denial or percentage, or homestead, not homesteaded class status. And so this person needs to act as, blind justice. They need to hear the facts, be able to understand real property tax law, and be able to each and every time come in and be able to make an impartial decision. There's uniqueness about real property tax law where the assessor in a hearing is assumed correct, and they have to be able to understand that, and they have to be able to go to training, appear at the fourth Tuesday in May, fourth Tuesday in May deliberations, which are on that date and sometimes later, and then we also have a second board meeting later on in the year for the school re-levies, and then also for city re-levies. In November, we also have a third meeting. It's not a onerous volunteer position, but it's very specific to the times where that member is needed. So I think most importantly, we're looking for someone who can go to training, follow real property tax law, be impartial, and not really have someone who has an axe to grind about with regard to assessments or being pro-city with regard to assessments. So we need someone to be impartial.
And how often does it meet?
Fourth Tuesday in May. There have been a few times, but not of late, where it's also the day after, where you have extra hearings. And then of all those hearings that you do have, they have to deliberate on every hearing. So for grievance day, the main grievance day, you're looking at like 4, sometimes 5 evenings. And then on our second and third meeting, we've had no more than half an hour on each meeting over the past 7 years. So second and third meetings. Those are lightly attended meetings due to the fact that the only people that qualify for the second and third Board of Assessment Review meetings are people who have been sent a exemption removal or something to that effect, a change on the final assessment roll.
Wait, I'm confused. So how often do they meet?
There's 3 meetings throughout the year, and those 3 meetings may result in deliberations on that day or additional days. So there's three meeting days where they can have hearings, and then from there they have to find the time to come to deliberate on those hearings that they have on the 3 days. Over the past few years, we were looking at no more than 7 evenings, what equates to about 7 evenings of time.
Yeah, if I could just add what Dan said. The grievance day is like 3 to 5 and then 7 to 9. I think last year we had maybe a dozen or more.
Yeah, we
There were more people than
probably
me,
had
but they didn't
about
show up to the hearing.
Probably had about 30 hearings, plus we probably had about, I'm guessing off the
We
top of my
had
head,
about 200.
about, yeah, maybe 150 drop-offs
Yeah.
that they have to deliberate on each.
And that's what's going to take the time, because it's usually evenings, and it takes whatever, and we have to have a quorum to do it, okay?
So I'm here to say we need to make this appointment.
When do you need?
Really, this person should be appointed at the March meeting, Common Council meeting, no later than the April meeting, because there's training in April, early April, and that's cutting it close.
But we need to know by the end of January.
So if your next meeting, we should try to. I will try to come up with some names and sit and talk about that, and you can communicate with me in my office if you want to bring some names, or you want me to speak to any of these potential applicants as to what their responsibilities may be. I'd be happy to do that for you. If they have specific questions that need to be asked to see if they really want to be a candidate, I'd be happy to do that. And we'll go from there.
Yeah, I just want to add what Dan said. We've experienced in the past, people who have had experience in, Wayne was building department, with the fire department, he's also on planning, and so he knows land use and so forth, and knows the implications of that. So, and we have other members on the board who also serve in zoning. That has good results because those people know what the use is and how it impacts in the neighborhood. They don't have to be, okay? They don't have to be, but it does add to their qualities.
So, does it matter, besides, I hear what you're saying about those qualifications, does it matter like what kind of occupation the person has? Like, is it good or bad or indifferent to have somebody who's involved in real
You
estate?
don't want real estate people.
I'll read to you this, and this is a large net. What real property tax law 523 does say is this. Board of Assessment Review shall consist of not less than 3, no more than 5 members appointed by the legislative body of the local government or village. Members shall have a knowledge of property values in the local government or village. Neither the assessor nor the member of his or her staff shall be appointed to the Board of Assessment Review. A majority of such boards shall consist of members who are not officers or employees of the local government or village. So that's 523B. I think that casts a large net with regard to values. You know, I don't necessarily think, and that is because what is happening is the person you're putting on this board is not revaluing property. They're hearing evidence and making a decision on what, with the evidence that is presented. If evidence is not presented, I'm assumed correct in that hearing, and I don't have to say anything. And if, as long as the Board of Assessment Review is doing their job, the hearing is over, and the determination is what it should be.
And that's what the
No
training
change.
is, I assume, basically
The training-
guides them,
training
you gotta
will
be
guide
in this lane for that, about the.
It is important that they do go and have the ability to understand that. So that's why I said someone with a prior opinion on values in the city is probably not a good thing for the long-term health of the assessment role and future claims. A common knowledge like yourselves have with regard to real estate, I think that would be suffice, and that's how I would interpret that,
So,
523.
common knowledge like Bill Curry has?
Sure.
I second that nomination.
You already did that. I think we're already past that.
I think he's been elected twice now.
Yeah.
All right, so if everybody could put in some thought to that, including you, Bill. You have a few more days to you know, put in some thought to this and let us know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess we'll.
If you have any names, you want me to call anyone, feel free to contact me.
When
or
does the
have them-
absence of the person become a real problem for you in terms of timeline? I mean, you said you'd like to have it by March 1st, is there like a drop date?
For them to be able to sit at the hearing
Yeah.
without a waiver from the state board, they have to go through the April training.
Right, so you're talking about,
So we have to
you
have it
need
by
someone and
March.
you need someone quickly.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
time is of the essence.
So, you know,
It's not yet a fire drill, but it's important that we go out and have, at least try to have a name by
right.
this next meeting.
So a suitable person is, you know, better than waiting for the perfect person.
Oh, sure,
Yes.
sure.
And you're coming to us this late because you had assumed that Wayne was gonna get rid.
You know, we had talked about it, and you know, I think I missed the communication deadline, but we're typically in this ballpark every year.
Okay.
You know, yeah, you know, it
Yeah, I
expires.
see
5-year appointment.
Yeah, their 5-year appointments expires in the fall, and you know, out of respect to Wayne and his service to the board and the city, I wanted to have a chance to have a clear conversation with him.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll see you next
Motion
month.
to adjourn?
Well, I am asking
Oh,
for
never
a brief discussion with the 4 of you, and then possibly 2-minute action afterwards.
All right.
All right,
Hallelujah.
so I guess we're going into.
Thank you, Dan.
attorney
Thank you
client.
so
Right,
much.
so the meeting is adjourned for consultation with council, and then we will recommence after.